Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1AAuto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace a rear window motor on this 2000 Nissan Altima. Pretty much the same as any 1998 to 01 Altima. Usually you need to replace the motor when the window's not working and you press the switch and nothing happens. Tools you'll need are a small flat blade screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, a 10mm socket with ratchet and extension, a putty knife or something similar to pry the door panel off, and you may need an impact driver. I show you how to use one in this video, although sometimes if you use a screwdriver and tap it with a hammer, that's good enough to get the screws that hold the motor loose.
Start by taking a flat blade screwdriver, and there's a little trim button right down in here. You have to be careful, all the sticky stuff down in here sometimes. Pry that up, and then there's a Phillips screw there. And then here, you need to carefully, and you can see this actually has already been broken, carefully go in here, pry out. Okay, up here, pry out. Up here, pry out as well. And remove this bezel, and you can see there it has 4 places where clips go in.
Here I'm just using a Phillips screwdriver. Take out that screw and pull up on that pull cup. The whole assembly comes up and off, and the switch comes out with it. Pull it backwards and out, and then underneath there's a tab on the harness where it connects. Push the tab down, disconnect the harness. Pull out, work your fingernails underneath, and pull out on the door panel and release a bunch of clips. Lift the panel up and off. Fast forward here a little bit, there is a bracket on the middle of the door. Use a 10mm socket and ratchet, or a screwdriver would work, and remove the bracket so that you can then pull that water shield down, and you might be able to tell that somebody just kind of cut the water shield before. That's not what you want to do. You want to pull it off, try not to damage it, keep it intact. And now with that water shield out of the way, you'll see a brace that is held on by another 4 10mm bolts, and remove those and remove the brace. Okay, next there are 6 bolts that hold the regulator and motor assembly to the door. You'll see me removing those 6 bolts. You'll have to lift the window motor up a little bit and then down in, and you can see that the regulator and whole window assembly slides down a little bit. This allows you to get to the bolts that hold the window to the regulator. Okay, and here's a close-up. There's the kind of gold bolt right there, and then there's one tucked in further. So here I'm using a 10mm wrench and kind of reaching in there and getting to that bolt that's kind of hidden in the door panel, and then I'll speed it up here as I remove that. And now here I'm removing that other bolt that's fairly easy to get to, and once I get that out, then you're able to just grab hold of the window and lift it up. Okay, just hold the window up with some painter's tape. There's a little tab where you connect the harness, pull that up, and pull that off, and then you can just kind of reach in here and squeeze the 2 tabs for the motor harness. Motor right out. You may find you have to use an impact driver. Okay, what this is, you put it down into the screw, and then you hit it, and it loosens the screw. Put it in the screw. You turn it counterclockwise. I'm just hitting it with the back of my hand. Yeah, it loosens the screw. Usually on these you can get them just by pressing really hard with a regular Phillips screwdriver.
carefully. Actually, first remove the clip for the harness. Pull one side out. Okay, carefully remove. Motor, new motor from 1A Auto. Okay, put it on there.
And fast forward as I put the screws back in and tighten them up with a screwdriver. Again, this is the part where to get this apart, you may be able to be successful at getting it apart by using the screwdriver and just tapping it with a hammer as you try and loosen the screws. Usually it comes apart that way rather than using the impact driver.
Okay, I've got my regulator motor assembly back here, and I've actually hooked up the motor, and I've got my switch hooked up. And what you'll want to do is carefully just run your regulator down a little bit, okay, and then put this bolt back up in here. Disconnect this again. Put the motor in, and the regulator. The motor bracket hangs up there, and then see, comes down. It hangs up right there. The regulator. Put that in, and then what you're going to do is I'm going to bring the harness down. Right out through here again. Reconnect them. Okay, and clip that on there. And I still have the key on. I'm going to run this down till this hole lines up and I can see right through here. Okay.
And fast forward again here as I disconnect the switch, and then I actually turn the key off on the car. Then I put all the bolts back in that hold the regulator rail and the motor bracket, and then tighten those up.
Tape off. And slide your window down, make sure it goes outside of the regulator.
And once the window's down, start the bolts in that hold the regulator to the window, and then tighten those up. Now you're going to put the brace back on. It has an arrow that points up and also has a styrofoam block that goes in towards the inside of the door. And then use the 4 bolts to mount it, tighten them up, and then put your water shield back up in place and put the door panel brace back on.
Okay, to put this on, you want to get the back clipped in here first, and I go at a really good angle, push it up, and then on. Okay, now bring the front up, push it in towards the window, and down on. Okay. Put the edges in. And put this back in place. Down in and grab the harness. Reconnect that. Push the front in first, and the back down in. Put our Phillips screw back in. And then our little trim button.
We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet